west on Hall Road.
Baker 5 is en route.
We're here and we're going to review this gear, and I think you're going to really like what we have. It's actually 5 different items. So Brad, what are we going to take a look at first?
Let's take a look at the micro survival kit.
Okay, so the micro survival kit, and this has, as you can tell, all kinds of fun little things in it.
31 pieces.
31 pieces. We're going to check this out. And I know we're outside, you're gonna have to bear with us just a little bit based on conditions, but we wanna really get out here and open this up outside and let you take a look at it. So let's check that out. Let's see what we have there.
Obviously it comes in a Ziploc bag, which can be used later on. It's not just a bag for shipping or anything. It's a bag for transportation, storage, packaging, as well as use later on. Mm-hmm. Inside the kit comes with this card reminding you of what you have. Ron, if you want to go through it.
Yeah, I'll do that. So it says that it has 23 essential survival items to keep you alive, and it's a micro survival kit. It's EDC pocket size. The whole idea behind this is that it's very, very compact. So let's go through this list. So you should have one water bag, and it's a 1 liter capacity, heat resistant, food grade bag. Now that came rolled up, and it was inside one of these little rubber bands that is really, really cool. We'll get into that here in just a second. There's a lot of uses for that. So basically you've got this bag, and yeah, it looks like it would probably hold about a liter of water, and obviously it's food grade, so you know it's going to be sterile. You know this is going to work well. Heat resistant, so not likely, to melt or do anything like that. Okay, there you go.
There's that's a 16.9 fluid ounce bottle of water already, just to show you what the capacity is. Obviously 1 liter as the manufacturer and the card described.
And then you've got one of these bands, and I'm assuming that what you do is then choke down the top of the bag, and then you would put one of these small rubber bands around the bag, and that would basically give you the ability to keep that water contained in the bag.
You bet. And I believe our folks describe that as a Ranger band.
Okay, that's right.
You'll commonly find this on load-bearing vests for folks in the military.
Okay, so Ranger bands, and you basically get 3 of these. So you've got Ranger bands to secure gear. They're burnable, fire extenders. So if you had a small fire going and you needed to extend the fire, these would actually be something then that you could use in that fire. Is that right?
You bet.
Now the next thing on the list is that you have 2 first aid tender, and they call that short. They use the term FAT packs. They're triple antibiotic infused cotton gauze. So basically what we've done, what it looks like, is they've taken this gauze and made it very, very compact, and it looks like it's maybe hermetically sealed small containers here. So you've got 2 of those. Now when it says first aid tender fat packs, essentially that could be used for first aid because it's got antibiotic infused in it, but it could also be used as tinder.
Yes.
Okay.
And tinder, as we know, is good for fire starter.
Right. So now the next thing on the list is a 20-foot fishing repair snare line with 50-pound test line. So we've got again, if you notice, the way that they've packaged all this stuff up is it's all wrapped up. It's very, very tight and compact. But if we were to open that up, let's just go ahead and open that up, and let's just take a look at it. Let's unfold that and see what it looks like when we open that up. The thing about this kit is that it all fits into basically an EDC type container. So your everyday carry bag, your pocket, you've got a backpack for school or some sort of thing for work or something like that. This is going to work really well to fit into your EDC loadout, whatever you've got. Well, they've really got that in there tight, but okay.
They do.
There you go. Look at that.
And there's your line.
Okay, that looks good. That looks really, really good. That's pretty amazing. That looks like an awful lot of line. So it says it's 20 feet. I believe that that's definitely 20 feet.
And the nice thing about this, as we will later see on with the survival knife, is that this line is small enough to be utilized as a suture kit if you so need to. Lots of uses right here. Lots of uses right here,
Good,
folks.
very good. So the next thing on the card is 3 small fishing hooks. I believe these things are also wrapped up in a small capsule again. And as you can tell, it's pretty easy to get these open if you need to, but these things would last, I'd say these things would last indefinitely the way that they're sealed up in these little capsules.
Yep, almost like a capsule for medicine, but obviously thicker and going to last you a whole lot longer.
Okay.
There are 3 hooks. There's a safety pin.
Okay, 3 hooks, and yep, I see a safety pin, 3 hooks. Looks like there's even more stuff still in there. There's maybe another safety pin there.
It's like another safety pin.
And some split shot, and I see a needle in there as well.
There it is. We'll take that out.
So 3 small fishing hooks. The next thing on the list on the card is exactly what I just said, split shot for fishing. Basically use that as a weight on your line.
Yep.
You've got 2 safety pins, and that's good for gear repair or whatever, 1,000 uses for safety pins, of course. You've got 1 magnetized needle, and that's good for gear repair or navigation. That's very interesting. So it's very intentionally a magnetized needle. Idea behind that being that if you need to make a field compass, then you could do that with that magnetized needle. Okay, and let's take a look at what else they have on this list. You've got 1 small waterproof zip bag. Of course, I think that's what you were talking about earlier, is all of this gear comes in this small bag. So a waterproof Ziploc type bag, that's good. Yeah, that's good. And you can obviously use that to keep things waterproof. You can do all kinds of things like stowing gear in that. So the next thing on the list, you've got an alcohol prep pad and gauze. So I think this is basically can serve 2 purposes. You've got it as an alcohol prep pad, but obviously the material that's made from is like a cotton gauze. So if you needed to use that in the gauze format, you could. Would you be able to use that and say as like fire tinder?
At least the paper, yes. At least the paper.
We've got gauze on the inside. It's got alcohol in it. I'm assuming that might be able to.
It's not too wet.
Good. Okay, that might be good for that.
70% isopropyl alcohol.
Okay, good. So you've got a lot of features built into this. Now, you've got a razor. Obviously, that's your cutting tool in this particular kit. Obviously, kind of a real standard razor right there. And let's see. Okay, here's something that really stands out, and I see this sitting over here. You've got a fire steel with a striker. And that is a very compact little steel and striker right there. That's good. And so I don't know if we'd be able to see any spark out here. You want to see if we can get a spark from that? Yep, there you go. I can see the sparks. Okay, so clearly I could start a fire with that. I think that would be no problem.
No, I could start the fire.
You could start the fire because you actually have it in your hand. That's right. Okay, you've got a mini candle and a fire, and it serves dual purpose as a fire extender. So the wax obviously in it is going to help extend the length of time that a fire burns. You've got lots of uses for something like a little mini candle like that. So, and then the last thing you have is 1 liter water purification tablets. And let's see, where are those tablets? Here they are, right here.
Yep, right in front of me.
Okay, so you've got feels like you've got a couple of them in there. That may be enough to treat 1 packet or 1 liter of water. It may be enough to treat 2 liters. I'm not real sure, but you've got water purification right there as well. So all these items basically fit together, and they come in this small cellophane bag. And we're going to show you in just a second. There's a few other items that this particular company puts out, and we think that you might be able to assemble all of these together into basically a very small transportable survival kit, something to throw in your pocket or your EDC bag. But this in particular is known as their micro survival kit. and it comes with all of those items, 23 different items that we just talked about. And we're gonna move on to another one of their products. So Brad, what do you want to talk about next?
Let's look at the tactical knife, which is about the size of a credit card. Not about, it is the size of a credit card.
Right. So this is another product from them. It's a 17 tool survival kit with knife. And it's got this, it's called Tiny Survival Card. And basically you've got all kinds of little devices, little tools and things like that made on the back side of this. So we're gonna go ahead and check that out now. I'm gonna get into that and let's see what kinds of fun little toys we've got made into this. Now that looks like a magnetized card. Is that card magnetized?
It is.
Okay, so that's gonna help. Why would you want a magnetized card on the back of a survival card like this?
So my belief is that when you remove any one of these items and you're done with it, instead of losing it in a pocket, being a sharp, and that's a sharp's object, in a bag that you could stick yourself, you could remove it from this template, again the size of a credit card. It is magnetized, so you could remove any one of these items, reuse it, and put it back on there.
Okay, so let's take a look at all the items that are on this little survival card, this tiny survival card. There's 17 items that they call last ditch tools. And let's take a look at those. So the first and most obvious thing is a knife. So it's got a pretty good sized knife in there. And it says that ships unsharpened. I'm not 100% sure that I'd want to test that, but you've definitely got a knife built in. That's really nice actually right there. And then let's see, the next thing that you have listed on here is an arrowhead. So
There's your arrowhead.
See the arrowhead? Yep. See the arrowhead built in there.
And a good thing about this, Ron, as you have already said, it's compact, and they've used the inset of the knife, one to store the arrowhead, two to store 3 needles, 2 other fishing hooks, and it looks like some kind of pointer as well. So they're utilizing all this space to maximize.
I think what I see a finger drill right there, a couple of needles,
that is
some
a
fishing
finger drill.
hooks. Yep, finger drill. You've got a couple of different. There's a lot actually going on with that card right there. So you've got a micro drill. So yeah, that's what I call the finger drill. You've got a micro drill right there. And then let's see, you've got tweezers. Those are right
Tweezers
down here.
Yep.
So you would punch that out and then fold that in half and be able to have your tweezers. And let me just tell you, when you're out in the field, and it doesn't matter where you're at, I used to carry something similar to this in my pocket when I was on patrol. And more than once, after having to jump a wooden fence or do something like that, I would literally sit in my car and be very thankful that I had that small pair of tweezers built into that little survival kit that I had in my pocket.
And there's the tweezer again. And again, folks, if we didn't say it, we'll say it again. All these items fold up and then peel off so that they are at your disposal. Wiggle it back and forth. Here's your harpoon.
There you go.
If you need
Yep. Very good. So you've got lots of things in here. There's 2 of those actually in there. So let's see, 2 mini gig spears. You've got 1 magnetic base, and of course that's the card behind it that we were just talking about.
Here's the other harpoon that Ron just mentioned.
And so you've got all of these things. You've got you've got a dual-sided saw right down here at the bottom, and you've got this. Now this is a button. Lots and lots of uses for that.
Yep.
And it's interesting. It's so funny to think that you'd ever need a small disc with holes in it, but that comes in for gear repair, that comes in for fishing, that comes into play for countless things I can think of. So it's always good to have that. That's basically a suture point, or a point where you can bring 2 small threads or pieces of string or your cordage together, tie them. You can use that for so many different things. So it's really, really good to have that little jewel right there. You've got a couple of double hooks there, some single hooks. I see 2 single hooks. No, I see more than that. There's two single hooks right there.
2 there, 1 there.
So actually there's quite a few things on this little card. I think and it's very flat, very easy to stick in your pocket or in anything like that. And we've got some other items where we may want to use this later that we're going to cover, including a tin that this company puts out. But for right now, that little card is got a lot of different features on it.
It does, and slim line, fit in your wallet, fit in your everyday carry bag, fit in your trail pack, fit in your photography bag, whatever it may be. This is a go-to, must-have item.
Yeah, and so when you find yourself in a situation where you have nothing else, I'd be very grateful to have this. What's the next thing that we want to cover?
Got a knife sharpener, compact in size, similar to the credit card size that everyone's accustomed to. And it's got 2 courses of grit, a 1000 fine grit,
Okay.
and then a 600 little bit coarser. So as most people know, you'd start out first with the 600 and then
Flip it over and kind of fine detail the edge on your knife with that 1000 grit. So basically, this is a pocket knife sharpener,
you bet.
and I like it. How's that feel? Is that heavy? Okay, that's
Nope.
that's
got
just
some weight
about,
to it, but-
yeah. Wow, that really seems like that would sharpen a knife well. I mean, you almost have to touch it to feel the coarseness on each side, and each one's marked 1000 on one side, 600 on the other. So that's I think that'd work really good. Let's see, what else do we have from them? I think we got 2 more products.
We've got-
okay.
yep.
Yep.
Go
So
ahead.
we've got this. What is this called? This is the Tiny Survival Guide. 242 tips, all in this little folded booklet, basically, that can fit into your pocket. You wanna open that up and let's take a look at it. Let's see what it's like. So my understanding of this product from doing a little bit of research first is that it's actually waterproof, and it unfolds, and it's got 242 different things, different situations that it can offer, like spur of the moment help with. So now, obviously, I don't know, I've joked around about things that, like, what if you were under attack by a bear? You're not gonna, if a bear is attacking, you're probably not gonna pull this out of your pocket and unfold it and look for that section. But no doubt you may have already looked at this at some point, and at least you'd have some guidelines on what to do with this. Now, there's a lot of other advice in here where in the spur of the moment, you would actually have time to open it up. You're not gonna be aggressively pursued by a bear maybe, or something like that. So now, well, okay. This does feel like this would be waterproof. This is really good. I like this. You got all kinds of information here. I see first aid, things about danger, shelter, fire, water. There's rescue information.
How to catch water, how to gather water. Like you said, in regards to shelter, where to put your shelter up, how to make a shelter, how to use the clothes that you have to build a shelter.
Well, there looks to be an awful lot of very useful information here. I'm rather impressed by the amount of information that's put in this. And this would literally, okay, there's some more on the back side. This would literally fold up and fit in your pocket. Now look at that. Now this could be very, very, very helpful. Look at some of this information. There's
Self-defense, navigation, food,
hunting, trapping, fishing.
7 knots, worst case threats. They talk about mass destruction preparation. They also mention resources, tips, tool, training gear. Folks, this is something you want to read before you go out. It's not something you want to read when you're out, although if you have time and you're not being chased down by a bear, like Ron said.
Yeah, I think I would familiarize myself with all of this information first. I would have briefed myself on everything in here, and I would refer to this quite often when you're sitting around and there's not a whole lot going on. I think I would definitely get into this and check it out. But the other thing that I would do is I would keep this with me in the event. So if you do find yourself out somewhere, or let's say you gave this as a gift to somebody, they don't know how to make a fire, and they find themselves in a situation where they have nothing else, and they remember that you gave them this mini survival guide. Waterproof, compact, pull it out of their pocket, go to the section that teaches them how to create heat or start a fire, do something like that. I think they're going to be probably in a better condition than if they were without it. Now I even see like edible plants on here with diagrams and pictures, how to cut fish to prepare it, very simplified version of how to prepare fish, all kinds of information on this. What do you think about this?
This is outstanding. Being wallet size, credit card size, just outstanding to go along with the, what do we have in the survival kit? 23 different items, and then you've got the survival blade as well. Or
That's right, you've got these, you've got the 23 items in the mini kit, you've got this little tool that's got all of these items on it, and then you've got 242 tips in the actual guide itself. And so far, all of this is extremely compact. So, which leads me to the last thing that this company sells. And let's take a look at this. This is a tin, and this would be really, really good for actually keeping all of these items in. So, you know, if you wanted any one of these items individually, you could take this, stick it in your pocket, stick it in your EDC. But let's say you wanted to build your own kit. You wanted the survival guide, you wanted the punch-out tools, you wanted the little survival kit itself. Let's just see if we can fit most of these items into this tin and see what that would be like. Okay, so you've got your little punch-out card there. There's the tiny survival card. Okay, that fits down in there nicely. Now there's the tiny survival guide. The tiny survival guide came with something. You've got a magnifying glass that actually comes with the tiny survival guide, and you can imagine that, you know, with all of that information, 242 different things all on that card. If you're like me, and especially if you end up losing your glasses somewhere in the mix, you're out in the woods, you're out in the field, and you've got this little survival guide. If you can't read it, it doesn't do you much good. So you've got a magnifying glass. And do you think you would be able to start a fire with that as well?
Yep, we just tried it. Went over here behind the bench. We've got full sun here in North Texas today. And just like the round magnifying glass that we all had as a kid, this one will work as well. So as Ron said, magnifying glass for reading, magnifying glass to start a fire.
Okay, let's see if we can fit that all into the tin. Okay, that fits nicely. Now, what else do we have left?
Got the knife sharpener.
Okay, the knife sharpener.
Because you brought your own pocket knife.
Right. Or if you needed to sharpen the knife that's in the punch-out card.
Yep, because it does not come sharpened, as you said earlier.
Okay.
Last but not least is our 23-piece survival kit. And as Ron said, normally it's pre-packaged from the factory. It's
much more compact than we have it now that we've opened it up and, you know, explored all the content. So clearly not meant to fit in here in this open state.
And each one of these items that we packed previously come in Ziploc bags. You can utilize these for storage later on, or you can put them back in your storage tin. But don't discard them just because you think that's...
Yeah, no, there's a lot of use for that. You could totally keep things waterproof, and you could pack medication. There's so many, you could even add to that if you wanted to. Okay, so everything fits very nicely in the small tin. Now you'd be able to take this tin, stick it in your EDC bag, stick it in your backpack, carry it to work with you, throw it in the glove box of your car.
Yeah, or leave it in the glove box.
Absolutely.
You know, buy a couple of them, have one in your EDC, have one in your travel kit. Obviously you can't travel with this on a plane because TSA is going to nix you for the sharp implement side of it. But this is a great go-to survival kit, all in one basically.
I like it. I'm really thoroughly impressed with all of the contents and everything that they packed together. So my recommendation would be to get this. I think this is going to work really well. Now we didn't field test all the items, but you can tell it's well made. You can tell that it would stand up to use out in the field. So I like it. Definitely.
And the folks up at Tactical Survival or tinysurvivalgear.com, they're phenomenal. They put on great products. They ship small, but they act in a big way. They also have a scan code here that you can scan with your phone, and you can watch appropriate or applicable videos on items, how to use different applications.
So I like it. So you're not just going to get the gear, you're going to actually have a little follow through. You can actually go to their website and truly learn how to use the items that they ship to you.
You bet. And if you want a shout out for their website, tinysurvivalgear.com.
Okay, all right, that sounds good. Well, thank you guys. Thank you for joining us for this little test and evaluation session of this gear. Thank you guys over at Tiny Survival Gear for sending this to us. We appreciate it, and look forward to working with you guys in the future. And we look forward to working with you and bringing you more reviews of more gear down the road. Well, Brad, what do we say at the end?
Strength and honor.
Strength and honor, always. All right, guys, we'll see you on the next episode.